partners. The name's Old Sal. I was just sitting down to read a story on this mighty cold night, and I was just wondering maybe if you'd like to hear that story too. Well, do ya? Well, I'm gonna read it anyway. This is the story of the Saints. The year is 1879. Gun crimes were on the increase. Depression had reached all new heights, and times were tough for American settlers. The people who suffered the most hardships, though, were in the border towns in the south and southwest. Our story centers around one of these towns in particular, the small settlement of Yokesville, which is on the border of Mexico. You see, it's a Tex-Mex town. The settlers lived in peace for many a year with the bordering Mexicans until the new sheriff arrived in town. In his day, the sheriff was renowned for being one of the toughest of the tough, the meanest of the mean. I once saw him kill a man with his bare hands. But by the time he got to Yokesville in '79, he was getting on a bit, but his reputation was feared as ever. Now you see, the sheriff wasn't too fond of Mexicans, so when he got down into Yokesville, he started passing all these new laws, preventing any Mexicans from crossing in the border into America, and any deals between American traders and Mexican settlers had to be stopped straight away. Now, as you can imagine, this didn't go down too well with the Mexicans, who survived on the American trade. Several months after the new laws had been passed, that's when it all started to kick off. You see, the Mexicans were so angry at the sheriff that they started robbing and killing just to survive. Now this just fueled the sheriff's hatred for these Mexicans even more. One day, a small group of American traders were passing close to the border of Mexico, when out of nowhere they were ambushed by hundreds of Mexicans. The Mexicans left them all for dead, except for 3 men. Those men's lives were saved on that day, some people say by the hand of God, and they plucked up all the courage left in them just to crawl back to town to tell people of the events that had taken place on that fateful day. From that day onwards, those 3 men swore to gain revenge against the men who had committed all these evil crimes. They had lost their families and their loved ones. From this day on, these men were to be known as the Saints.